This video is part 2 on my coverage of the most massively underrated Arctic Monkeys songs. If you missed out on part 1, then tap the card on screen to catch up on that to see what I picked there, or hit the link down below to see all of my Arctic Monkeys themed videos. Hey neighbor, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John, and it's time to talk about 7 more massively underrated Arctic Monkeys songs. The English rock band have been extremely consistent in terms of their sonic evolution, but also just expanding their palette without losing sight of who they were or how they got there in the first place. They have an extremely charismatic frontman in Alex Turner, and they've shot up to become one of my top 10 favorite bands of all time. I'm excited to talk about more of their underrated tracks because what separates Arctic Monkeys from a lot of other modern groups is that not only do they have their bangin' albums, they got those bangin' B-sides for days. There are going to be a few album cuts on my list today, but I wanted to focus even more on some of those overlooked B-sides, some of those gems that maybe just haven't seen the light of day, at least not to certain audiences. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope to do a part 3 because I have more than enough waiting and ready to go. Like this video if you want to see that become a reality, and subscribe for the love of music. Don't you love it when the carpet matches the drapes, or rather, the title matches the feeling of the song? Electricity does anything but short circuit, passing over the ears with a broadened intensity that really puts the spotlight on drummer Matt Helders and guitarist Jamie Cook. These two really lock in on the Are You Mine B-side, further leading me to question why something this killer couldn't have made the AM record over the likes of, say, I don't know, I Want It All? No shade to that track, but things almost feel a bit surf rock oriented as that lead riff dances like a wave, locking in like an island breeze that slowly picks up intensity before a hurricane, or a storm, if you will. It's got the punch of its big brother put to tape, so if this has slipped through the cracks for you, it's time to dust it off and allow Alex Turner to give you the ultimate vibe check.
Let's go down, down, low down, where I know I should not go.
Appearing originally on their second EP, Who the Fuck Are Arctic Monkeys? This deep cut No Buses is a favorite of the hardcore fans, yet seems incredibly slept on by the general public, often being swept under the rug in favor of Riot Van on their debut album that dropped the following year. Both songs are insightful sidesteps to the live wire energy their early works pulsated with, but No Buses in particular really struck a chord with its simplistic portrayal of lonely love. Buses and other modes of public transit are everywhere until you really need them, and Alex makes a really compelling point by comparing the search for romantic companionship to this feeling of frustration. Where's a taxi when you're stranded in the snow? Where's the bus when you're running 30 minutes late to work? Nowhere to be found, ghosted, just like the search for a partner. When you're not interested, they're interested, but the 180 comes when you're at home fully realizing the extent of your loneliness. The light guitar from Alex and Jamie is a perfect little flutter to send things on their way. The intentional pauses are almost a wink to the audience to keep up and stay on the same page, and of course the thick English accent only makes this reflective tune that much more enjoyable, given the band's coming of age was happening just around this time.
BLOND-O-SONIC, SHIMMER.
One of the B-sides to Don't Sit Down Cause I've Moved Your Chair might just be superior to the album track, and that undiscovered gem is the BLOND-O-SONIC Shimmer Trap, a wordy maneuver that discreetly weaves together an intelligent narrative in a way that only our Lord and Savior Alex Turner could. The bass groove here builds with a subterranean intensity, propelled further by the lavish guitars that make you feel like you're inside a film soundtrack at a car chase scene as Turner declares she snapped wing mirrors off of Cadillacs on the hook that almost feels like a narrator's infatuation.
Shoes affect your step, don't forget whose legs you're on.
When the polarizing reactions to Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino came flooding in, I calmly poured myself a stiff drink and threw on a bathrobe to lounge around in while listening because I saw this deviation coming from a mile away. Alex Turner is one of the best lyricists of the 21st century, and I find myself getting mind-blown going back to B-sides like Don't Forget Whose Legs You're On, a coy piano-infused passage about a stripper. Maybe stripper is too broad of a term, but let's call it Alex writing from the perspective of a man expecting more than what's coming to him after encountering a dancer at the club. From the portrait he paints, it sounds like a super classy place you'd sit and sip scotch and smoke cigars to under the yellow lights, and just a round of applause for the writing on this track that didn't even make the album proper, that album being Humbug. The main takeaway here is that Don't Forget is a sly, sexy Molotov cocktail for the mind that sends ripples through you as you listen, grabbing your attention even further with clever lines like "she had child-proof caps on all her answers," genius, and just steamrolling over you with an unwavering sense of cool. Then again, when is that not the Arctic Monkeys? Classic Arctic Monkeys right here, Yorkshire accent and all. This is a rip-roaring buzzer that would set any crowd on fire with its perfectly balanced scale of storytelling and pounding guitars. Wacky titles are certainly no stranger to the band, I mean we've seen that already on this list, but the Frame Tour has become increasingly overlooked as the years go by, considering it's one of their least streamed tracks on Spotify and YouTube. This was one of the cuts that didn't quite make Favorite Worst Nightmare, and I get it, maybe it didn't quite have its place there, but I'm so happy that it saw the light of day considering it's one of their strongest B-sides in existence. After name-dropping some movie heroes and stirring in some deep-seated jealousy of another man that seems to be able to pick up women with the type of confidence he'll never have, we get a barrage of guitars that make this song impossible not to groove to.
All the pretty visitors came and waved their arms and cast the shadow of a snake pit on the walking face, the chicken or the dickhead, splits to leap reaps rewards from ill-fitting thoughts.
Never come between a man and his metaphors, especially not if that man is Alex Turner. He's turning tricks once again on the clever deep-cut Pretty Visitors from an already underappreciated album, Humbug, and it's a shame that this didn't get the single release that was intended for it, with that slot instead going to the scuzzy opener, My Propeller. I'll just come right out and say it, this is the best combination of styles to be found on the album, and by that I'm talking Josh Homme as the producer with his desert rock cadences smashing head-on into pure unrestrained Arctic Monkeys charisma. The famous, or infamous, depending on how you view it, line, "Which came first, the chicken or the dickhead," lives here, and I absolutely love how bloody British some of these turns of phrase roll off the tongue. There's a mood swing that feels both triumphant and sarcastic as fuck, and beyond that fantastic performance from Alex, can we just take another moment to tip our hats to drummer Matt Helders? The man tears it up. I cannot get enough of his multifaceted approach to drumming. It just feels like a distraught marching band lining up to fall on the hatchet as the chorus rolls into town, only to dodge it last second and push us all right back into the fire.
Sensation, grease you like your naughty mates, one that made you steal and set things on fire, but one you haven't seen of late.
King's Cup filling up like a strong glass of wine at number 1, as I clearly did not have the budget for that, but it's a hell of a tune that should go down as a lesson to any rock band wanting to interpolate a rapper into a song. This doesn't feel like the Arctic Monkeys bending their own souls to open a portal that would bend to somebody else's needs. Instead, they got together with British rapper Dizzy Rascal and this colliding of worlds brilliantly titled "Temptation Greets You Like Your Naughty Friend." It's hard to say exactly why, but this song does have a strong hip-hop vibe to it, even removing the fact that a rapper is featured. The slamming beats and jaunty guitar chops rip a hole in the space-time continuum, sucking out any preconceived notions you may have had and turning them upside down. This is really a masterclass in delivering lines about the fear of something good and new, referring to self-sabotage and the feeling of going in circles without ever being too direct about it. Instrumentally, this song does pop off harder on the hook, but I like that they're able to lay off the gas pedal and coast on the vibes during the verses and during Dizzy's verse, which is actually a lot of fun, by the way. That's a wrap on the second installment of my most underrated Arctic Monkeys songs of all time. Keep in mind that I did not include anything that was already featured in my own personal top 10, there's a link for that down below, and I also didn't include obviously anything that I already touched on part 1, so click the link here to see that. Other than that, make sure you subscribe to see more videos like this in the future, smash a like if you want to see a part 3, and other than that, connect with me on social, link down below, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.